Yes, hi everyone. Let me just share my screen. I hope my screen is visible. Yep, hi, good evening, let's go. Good evening. Yes, good evening everyone. I hope I'm visible and audible, and my screen is also shared. Good evening, Utpal. Good evening, good evening. Hello, Dhruv. Good evening, Tushak. Good evening. Thanks, Ananjay. Chalo, ठीक है. I hope I'm visible and properly audible as well. Right. So, in the meanwhile, while people are joining, do you guys have any doubts from the previous session? Anyone? Do you guys have any doubts or anything you want to ask from the previous session? In the meanwhile, people are joining. Anything else you want to ask? Related to React or related to JavaScript, you can ask me. Just give me a second. Utpal says all okay. Okay, that's great. Chalo, nice. Okay. I just wanted to ask that can I write your code in white app or will it, Tejas, you can write it. It will not cause any problem. Amazing. So yesterday's session is there. If you check the LetsUpgrade YouTube channel, you'll find it in the playlist, in the React playlist. Okay. Ganesh, which shortcuts you're talking about? See, Ganesh, initially, right, when you're practicing, I will not recommend you to use shortcuts because shortcuts are only available on VS Code, right, with the extension that you have. But it might be a case that you are in an interview and you're writing a code on notepad, right? There, using if you have a habit of using shortcuts, then it might not be uh, a good impression on the interview, right? Because you don't know how to make a component, although while you have been just using shortcuts. So I would recommend you to initially use whole the full code, not using shortcuts. But once you gain enough practice, then you can switch to shortcuts. Okay, it's not a good practice. I did not find notes. So Naveen, so sorry for that. I forgot to put the notes. I will upload today's, tomorrow's. I will upload yesterday's and today's note, and you'll find it in the description box. Okay, right? Fitness. What is the duration? It's of 2 hours. Chalo. Yeah. So I think I have enough strength now. So guys, did you have any thoughts from the previous session you want to ask me? Uh, in the meanwhile, we continue, right? If you have any doubts, you can let me know. The first 5 to 10 minutes we'll be devoting for doubts, and then on we'll be starting. So today we'll be covering props, very important topic, and after props, we'll be covering states. Right, these are the main two important topics, or you can say the main pillars of React. Right. So Ganesh says while you are teaching pre-sale interview questions, yes, sure, I always do. So if there is any important topic that that is asked in the interview, so I'm telling you in the initial part itself. So today's topic, what we'll be covering, uh, we will be covering. I'll tell you, we'll be covering props, right? And we'll be covering states. These are very big topics and very vast topics. So I'm devoting full session for that on only. We'll see. We'll have a hands-on with that. We'll make a mini kind of a project, you can say, right? And we'll also see that. And these two topics are the most widely used in an interview, right? Most widely topics, most asked questions. I'll say most asked, not questions, most asked topic in an interview. Okay, that is props and state. So I've told you initially, right? So now it's better that you pay attention in today's class and clear all your doubts. Uh, they just says, do we have any assignment? Yes, they just you do. So I'll show you where is the assignments and how to mark attendance in the middle of the session. Don't worry about it. Shubham says, amazing session yesterday. Looking, yeah, oh, sure. Yeah, Shubham. So today you'll also have a very fantastic session, right? Just make sure that you're attending it very properly and you'll be good to go. Yes, Tejas. So yes, let's go. We'll be building the project, but not now. Tomorrow. That's okay. Chalo. Apart from this, any doubts that you have, or do you want me to continue? Hi, Saurav. How are you? In the meanwhile, let me just write down these topics. Acha, guys, is the font size okay? Do you want me to increase it? Is the font size okay, or do you want me to increase it? I think this is fine, right? No, it's okay. Chalo, ठीक है. I think this. If you face any difficulty with the if you face any difficulties with the font size, do let me know. Okay. Chalo, ठीक है. Props. And also in the meanwhile, let me open VS Code. Chalo, let me open the folder which we were working on yesterday. And it was, let me go ahead and head over to my desktop. And it was demo React, right? Chalo. Miss yesterday's lecture. Is it okay to continue today's lecture? Yeah, easiest way. So I would suggest you to at least watch today's lecture. And after today's bootcamp, you can go ahead and watch the day one lecture as well. Okay. But please make sure to watch it. Chalo, ठीक है. So this is what we have till now, right? I'll tell you what we made yesterday. We made a very basic React application, right? So if you saw in if you see in the component section, we have made a component folder, and these component had two folders, right? Two files, sorry, not folders, two files. One was hello.js, which had a very basic header tag, that is day one of bootcamp. So this is day two of bootcamp, right? And this is hello1.js, which also had some basic text and a button. That's it. Okay. Okay. Now, uh, the concept that I want to introduce today is props. Okay. So first, I'll be telling the definition and theory part of props because it is very widely asked in the interview, and then we'll see some implementation. We'll make a small kind of project, and after that, we'll also see how and where it is most widely used. Okay. So, चलो ठीक है. Yes, props. So I'll tell you, props is a short form of properties. Okay, what is prop? It is a short form of properties. It means props means sending data from one component to another. Okay, what does it mean? It means sending a data from one component to another. So let's suppose this is hello, and this is hello1, and this is app.js, right? What if I want to send a data from app.js to my hello or hello1.js, right? How do I do that? So remember in JavaScript, how do you transfer data from one function to another? You use you can use arguments for that, right? But as these are not functions, these are components, and this is in a separate file. How do you share a data here, right? This is the most commonly asked question, and this is the most important topic, that how do we share a component here. So that you do it by using props, right? You send a data from one component to another. Okay. Now, after that, the third point that I have got here is, typically, if most of the times you can say, right, we send the data from parent to child, right? As simple as that. So if I were to talk in a very practical sense of view, you have app.js here. You've got app.js, right? And you want to send the data to hello. This is your main component. This is where you can see a parent component. Okay. And you, let's suppose you got a variable. Let's suppose you have var a equals to 10, 20, let's suppose, and this var is only present in this component, right? And let's suppose you have another component that happens to be a child of parent component, uh, that happens to be a child of parent component. And let's suppose I have it like here, and here, let's suppose I have another variable, uh, no, not variable, right? So let's suppose this is app.js, if you were to consider an example properly, and this is, let's suppose, hello.js. Okay. Now, how do I access var a equals to 20? Because it is a separate file, right? App.js is a separate file, and hello.js is a completely separate file. So for that, we use props. We use props for that. Again, this is an example that I want to show you. In the meanwhile, let me complete the theory part first. I'll be coming to the code part more later on. Right now, the fourth point that we have is the props only flows from parent to child. Okay, you can only send data from a child, from a parent to a child. You cannot do it vice versa. If you want to do it vice versa, there are other tricks for that. But for now, you can assume that you cannot transfer your data from child to parent from the upper direction, right? And the most important point, right? Uh, the prop or the props can be anything. Okay, you can pass anything inside a prop. It could be a number, okay, a string. It could be an object. It could be an array, okay, and it could even be a styling, okay, CSS styling that you have, and etc. etc. Okay, this is what a prop means. Okay, so when a question is asked in an interview, what is prop? You can say these 5 points, that it is a short form properties. First of all, right, it means sending data from one component to another. Typically what it is sending data from parent to child. Okay, and you can say the direction. What is the direction of flow? It flows from parent to child, obviously. And the data in a prop can be anything. It can be a number, it can be a string, it can be an object, array, styling, etc. and etc. Right, right, clear. Now let's quickly come here to the VS Code, and let's see how do we implement a prop. No, Navi, not exactly. Okay, so I'll tell you. First of all, don't worry, I'll tell you how to use a prop. So let's suppose you have a scenario. And what is the scenario that you have? Let's suppose you are in your app.js folder, and you, let's suppose, uh, right, here I said that this is day 2 of component. That this is day 2 of your bootcamp. Let's suppose I'm not putting any value here. So if I quickly come here, Okay, so let's suppose I'm not putting any value here, and I want the value that should be here should be coming from my prop. Okay, as simple as that. So what am I doing here is I want that this day 1, day 2, day 3, etc., whatever the day is, I want this day to come from a prop that I'll be sending from the app component, and that will be displayed here. Okay, how do I do that? So let's suppose I have an app. Okay, so first of all, prop is an object. Okay, it is an object. So an object has a key and a value. Like you all know that object is a key and a value pair. Now, first you specify the key, and then you specify the value. Right? Let's suppose you have a value as, let's suppose, as 2. Okay, let's suppose this is day 2 of bootcamp, and I want to show the value 2 in the hello folder, hello component. So I quickly come into my hello component, right? I hope everyone knows what is a component here and what is this hello and what is this hello one. These are separate components that I have made on day 1. If you haven't watched day 1 recordings, I would strongly recommend you to do that. Right? So this is the value that I provided, right? And this is the this is the key that I have provided, and this is the value that I have provided, right? In order to access the values of prop, I'll quickly do one thing. So I have set the properties here. Now I'll quickly come to hello.js. Okay. First thing first, I will mention the name here. That is props. It could be anything. It could be even be Ritik. It could be even be your name. It could be anything. But this is the default name that we use. Prop. And in order to access the properties of a prop, we similarly we do it like uh, the similar way we do it for using the properties, accessing the properties of an object. How do we access the properties of an object? We do props dot and the value of my what do you say, key. What is the key here I have provided? It was value, right? Props dot value. So let me quickly come here and let me provide value, right? Now first of all, let me run my React application, right? How do I run my React application? First, I'll change the directory. Yes, Ritesh, yes. I'll change the directory to demo application because my directory was different. And now I'll quickly run the command called npm start. Okay. Now my application will run, and let it run. Starting the deployment server, and here I have. Acha, see the magic. I have not provided any day here. Okay, I have not provided any day here, but still, this is saying that this is day 2 of bootcamp, right? This is day 2 of bootcamp because the value I have provided here, the 2 here is coming from this. Even if I want, I can change it to 10. Let's suppose I do it to 10. Now day 10 of bootcamp will appear here, right? And I'll tell you, I'll also show you what is the nature of the prop. So let me console.log the value of props. Okay, and also let me open the console panel. Okay, so here you see prop. I told you, right? Prop is an object. So as I printed the value of props, here the value that you got here is 10, right? Because it is a key and a value pair. It has got a value. It has got a key has set it from, I have set it from here, and a value is setting from here. If I want, I can send multiple key value pairs. So let's suppose I want another value. Let's suppose value 1 equals to, let's suppose, a 20, right? Now see, it is having two values now. Value that is the, this is value, and this here is value 1. And if I come here, if I want to access this value as well, so I can do props dot value 1. Now if I do it, 20 will appear here. Okay, and this obviously this value I can change. This value I can make it 200, make it 2000, anything as per my need. So this was a most basic example of telling you how do you transfer, how do you send data from one component to another, right? And how do you access it? How do you access the data? You access it by first of all writing it in the name of writing props in the parameters. It can be any name because it is the name of your object, right? And this is how you access it by using a dot operator. Okay. Right. Uh, until I move forward, any doubts till here, guys? Any doubts you have till here? Do let me know. Is props clear? Yes or no? Or do you have any doubts? You can let me know. Yes or no, guys, in the chat box. Naveen says no doubts. Great. What about others? Utpal says all clear. Right. What about others? Come on, guys. I've only received 2 responses so far. What about others? Okay. They just clear. Dhananjay clear. Ritesh. Prop is a name. So I told you, right? Prop is a short form of properties. So if you want to change the name, if you want to change the name, you can change the name. Let's suppose I want to do it Ritik. Now we have to all again change the name to Ritik. Here to Ritik dot value and here to props dot value, right? Uh, Let me refresh it. Yeah. So right, you got the values here. Okay. Right, right, got it. ठीक है चलो after this guys just give me a second. ठीक है. So right, I told you, right, hellfire is clear. Yes, but what can I do? Ramesh is asking what can I do if I want to send data from passing child to parent. So Ramesh, so that you have to apply a special technique, right? I'll discuss that technique later on, but for now just focus on how do we do that, right? How do we do it from child to from parent to child? Okay, Vijender Singh says clear, Saurav clear, Stock clear, Ritesh clear. Okay, is it clear, guys? I mean, what about others? I have only received so far, I think, only 10 or 12 responses in a strength of about 60. Others clear hai? What about others? Okay, Rohit clear. How can I use a prop with a database? So okay, very important question. Acha, why not I show you how to call an API and how to get the data and how to show the data, right? Naveen, I'll I'll show you an example just now. Just wait. Okay, okay, okay. Clear hai. Let's code. We can use destructuring, right? But I haven't taught destructuring now, so that's why I'm not using destructuring. But yeah, we can do that. Okay, chalo. Okay. So yeah, as Naveen said, Naveen is saying that let's suppose we have a database, or let's suppose we have an API. We want to call an API, and that API will fetch the data from the database, and that data we want to show here, right? How do we do that? What is the meaning of console dot? Ganesh, it is used to print any values in JavaScript, right? I will strongly suggest you to watch the JavaScript series, JavaScript Bootcamp, right? Please make sure to please make sure at least your basics of JavaScript are clear. If they are not, you'll face a very difficult time there, right? So please make sure to watch the JavaScript Bootcamp and also make sure to practice JavaScript on your own. Okay, but to answer your question, console.log is used to print the values. ठीक है. Now चलो अभी let's talk about a very practical example that we use. So let's suppose I go to any website. Let's suppose I चलो ठीक है. Let's suppose I go to Amazon website. No Santosh, from it's from 6 to 8. ठीक है. This right here you have an Amazon website, right? And okay, so I'll tell you. Let's suppose you are calling. Let's suppose you are clicking on cart option, right? And when you click on a cart option, what happens, right? What happens? So let's suppose imagine something, right? Imagine you are in your cart.js component, because I hope I guess okay. Just imagine that this website is made on cart. This website is made on React, and you have a cart icon here. And let's suppose you have an option. You have a component called cart.js. Okay. And as soon as I click on, as soon as I add a product to my cart, this count gets increased to 1. It obviously, you must have seen that. But how do you think it happens? Just think. I'm on refrigerator. Let's suppose I'm on refrigerator page. I'm clicking on add to cart on the refrigerator page. From the refrigerator section, I'm clicking on add to cart, and that component is different from the cart component, right? Because the product component is different from the cart component, and you also have a billing component that shows the details of the product and what is the quantity of the product. So how do you think that on a click of on your single click on a single click, the same data, that is the refrigerator, is the quantity of refrigerator is 1, it is getting added to your cart, and it is the quantity also is being shown on your bill. How do you do that? It is done with the help of a prop, because we are sending the data from the refrigerator component to the cart component, and from the refrigerator component to the billing component, right? Obviously, right, you can imagine that. So it is also done by with the help of a prop. So let's suppose I come here. Okay, this is my app.js, and this is the value. Let's suppose this is the value 10, which I'm providing, which I have provided. Let's suppose this is the cart value, and let's suppose this is the another value that I have. Let's suppose this is cart 2. We have 2 cards. So this value can be anything, right? I can pass this value to hello. I can, even if I want to, I can pass this value to hello 1. Okay, I can pass it to as many components as I want, right? That is not an issue here. I can pass it to as many number of components as I want. Let's suppose this value equals to 100, right? I have successfully passed it from hello 1 to from app.js to hello 1. This is how you do it. This is a very practical example of how the websites are sending data from one page to another, right? You use it by using props, as simple as that. There are very advanced topics like context API and Redux also used for that, but they also have the same funda, right? They're also transferring data from a component to another component. The whole funda is same, the whole concept is same. It's just that things become very complicated when they are done on large scale. On a very small scale, so that's why we're using prop. If you're using a production code, let's suppose you are in a company and that company has thousands of lines of code, and the data is very big, and it needs to be sent to thousands of components all together. For that, you use a concept called context API, right? I'm not getting into depth of that because that's a very advanced topic, but for now you can imagine how it is done, right? Incognito says, how can we use stage? Yes, so I'll be covering stage today, don't worry, I'll tell you. Chalo, ठीक है. So yeah, where was I? Let's suppose, to Naveen's question. Let's suppose I quickly go to Fake Store API. Okay. Those of you who don't know, it is an API website that gives you an API, and with the help of that, you can fetch data. So let's suppose if I click on this link, it will land up to this page. It has a title, it has a price, description, category, image, rating, and things like that. Okay. So this is a kind of a fake data that I'm using. Okay, fake data. Let's suppose I have this data and I need to call this data from its database, and I want to show the product on my page. How will I do that? So for that, let's suppose let me quickly come to this function. Okay. Achha. I hope everyone knows how to call an API. If you don't, just please focus on that. I'll tell you. It's very simple. Chalo. Okay. Now, let's suppose I'm using an async function. Async function fn. Let's suppose. Okay. And that I'm calling an API. Let's suppose, how do you call an API? If you don't know, let's see. Very simple. Let's suppose const pr equals to because we are using await, we have to use fetch. Okay, sorry, because we are using async, we have to use await for that. Fetch, and you use this URL. So this URL. Okay, now the data that you get from here is not in, it's not in a browser readable format, so you need to convert it into a browser readable format. How do you convert it? You convert it by using .json. You have to use, because the data that is coming from your API, the data is not readable, your browser cannot read it, it needs to be converted into a JSON format. So it's very simple. Let's suppose response equals to, so whatever data that I have, I will just convert it into a JSON format. Okay, pr.json. Okay, and now if I console.log response, I will get the response of the data. Let's suppose I am here. Let me just comment this out, and let me call my function. Let's suppose this is function fn. Okay, as you can see, I have a data. I have successfully called the data. This is because so this is the same data that I had here. If I want to open this link, right? See, it has got an ID. It has got an ID. It has got a title. It has got a price. It has got a description, category, image, ratings, and etc. etc. That same data, I have it in my console. It's got an ID. It's got a title. It's got price, description, category, image, and things like that. Now, see, this is what I have for now, right? Acha. If you want to send this data, this response to another component, let's suppose you want to send it here. Let's suppose response equals to response. Okay. Now you will get an error. Why will this error come? Because it will say that response is not defined. Obviously, right? Because response is not accessible. It is not accessible here. JSON means converting. So JSON means you have to, the data that you get from an API is not converted into JSON. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation, right? If you want to make sure that your browser is able to recognize the data that is coming from an API, you most of the times need to convert it into a JSON format. And this is how you do it. You write .json method for that. That will help you to convert it into a JSON format. As simple as that. Okay. So, now this will give me an error. Obviously, it won't work because it is not accessible, right? It says it is not defined. Okay, it is a reference error. It is not accessible here because this function has a scope, right? This response is only accessible from here till here. It's not accessible outside. Okay, for that reason, we have also got another concept that is called a state. I'm not going into depth of that. I'll be covering states in today's session as well, and then we will see how do you transfer data from one component to another, but not now. Okay, but for now you can just see how do you call and how do you call an API from a database, and this is how you can get it by using fetch. Okay, how do you do it? How do you do it? You use the fetch keyword, then you type in the URL name just like this, and you can use the response. You can convert it into a JSON format, and then if you console.log response, you will get the corresponding result. Okay, and just give me a second. I wanted to try out something out. No, you cannot you cannot call an API by using fetch, right? So if I in the return, let me try one thing. Just give me a second. If I do response, no, it's not available. ठीक है. ठीक है, it's not available. चलो. Ritik more explain this part, which API fetching the data? So it's a C. uh, Calling an API from a server is very simple. Okay, it is only 3 lines of code that I have written in front of you, not even 3. This is the console part, only 2 lines of code. Okay, so first of all, in order to call an API from a data, you have to remember how do we call it. There's a specific format for that. First is you need to use and fetch. You need to use a fetch keyword, correct? And then you want to specify the URL from which you are calling out the data. Let's suppose this is the URL that is bringing the data, and so I have mentioned this URL right over here, right? And and yes, it's a built-in. It's a built-in. Gaurav, it's a built-in. Okay. And what? So remember this part. Whatever data is coming from the database from the API is not in the browser readable format. So your browser cannot read it out, cannot access it. In order to do that, you need to convert your response into a JSON format. And how do you convert it into a JSON format? We just use the .json keyword. Okay, this was the data that you had, and I've simply converted into a .json format. Yes, hellfire there is. Okay, .json format. And and once so this is the data that I've got, and this is converted into a .json. Now I can access it. So now if I do console.log, let me just refresh it, and I get the object here, right? If I don't convert it into a JSON format, let's see. If I don't convert it into a JSON format, and I simply do console.log pr, see, uh, this is the response that I will get. Okay, this is some weird response because it is not converted into a JSON format. My browser cannot view it. Okay, so it is giving results like uh, type. Okay, course is another concept that means cross origin. Okay, you don't need to get into depth of that. It has got a URL, it has got a redirected, and it has got a body. So this body is the data. Acha, see something, right? This body is the section that you want to view, but this is locked. Why it is locked? Because it is not converted into a JSON format. Okay, once you convert it into a JSON format, it will be unlocked, and the data will be viewable. You can view the data, as simple as that, right? So what happens when you don't use a JSON format? First of all, it will give you a response. Okay, this is the response that I've got. It has got many things, right? It has got the status, it has got the status and headers and things like that. But there's a specific thing that it has. It has a body key, and this body has got all your data, but it is locked. It is locked. Why? Because you have not converted into a JSON format. If I convert it into a JSON format, now you can view it. Now you can view the data. So uh, this right here, I have got the data. Okay, as simple as that, right? So it is very simple. It's just that once you get a hang of it, you can do it very easily. So await, Deepak, wherever we use async function, we have to use an await keyword. As simple as that. A stock method, there's a separate concept for that. If you're fetching data from MongoDB, right? We do not want to get into depth of that. It will confuse others because this is the front end bootcamp, not a back end bootcamp. But yeah, you can also do that. Chalo, clear hai guys? How do we call an API? How do we call a data? How do we get the data from an API? Is it clear? Yes or no? Do let me know. It's very simple, by the way. It's very simple. But still, do let me know if it is clear or not. Yes or no? Yes, Gaurav. It will return your promise. Yeah. Naveen, clear hai. Ramesh, clear. Diana, how do you pronounce your name? Diane Granger. I'm not sure. Forgive me if I am mispronouncing any, but yeah. Utpal clear, Jazz clear, Zayad clear. ठीक है, clear everyone. What about others? What about others? What about others, guys? ठीक है, Archana clear, right? Others, one, two. Ganesh clear है, Rohit clear. ठीक है. I hope it's clear, right? It's very simple, right? चलो, let's code का भी clear है, Rockstar clear. चलो, ठीक है. Now I'll do one thing. धनंजय क्लियर. चलो ठीक है. हाँ, अब एक चीज करते हैं. ठीक है, लेट मी कमेंट दिस पार्ट आउट. विल यूज इट when we study states. ठीक है, right? I remember telling you that it is also uh, here you can also send an array. ठीक है, so I'll do one thing. I'll just quickly make an array. Let's suppose const. ठीक है, const arr equals to, let's suppose 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. ठीक है, and now I want to send this array to my hello component. So in order to send a JavaScript variable, because at the end of the day it is a variable, right, that is containing this array, you use a curly bracket notation. So you have to use it like this, arr. ठीक है, you cannot do it like this because it will give you an error. And if you do it like this, it will consider it as a string, and it will be just like it will be viewed like here, like this. So if you want to send any JavaScript variable, okay, if you want to access, or if you want to send anywhere, if you want to use JavaScript in your JSX, because I told you yesterday, right, in React we use JSX. This is not exactly JavaScript. It is very similar to JavaScript, but not exactly JavaScript. So if you want to use any JavaScript variable, any JavaScript method, you use it inside a curly bracket notation. So this array is a JavaScript variable, right? So I obviously need to use it inside a curly bracket. If I don't use it inside a curly bracket notation, it will give me an error. So I need to enclose it like here. Okay, and as soon as I do it, so I get my data here. Okay, I get my data here, and if I want to modify this, let's suppose 33 4 5 and blah blah blah, anything I can, it will give me the desired output like this. JS is a mixture of JavaScript plus XML, not HTML. Okay, it's different. Okay, so you got it right. If you want to send a JavaScript variable or a JavaScript method into your props, you send it by using curly bracket notation. So see, I send it by using curly bracket notation, and this value I got here, right? This value I got here. And if I see here in my object, if I refresh this, if I see, so it has a value that is 10 initially, because this value is 10, and this value is an array, right? So this is the value that uh, I get an array here. And if you want, you can also send an object. So let's suppose I make an object, const obj equals to key equals to value, and let's suppose key2 equals to value 2. Okay, value 1 and value 2. Okay, and I want to send this. Okay, I want to send this object as a prop. So how will I do that? Let's suppose I make value 3, and here obviously, so React is also your object is also a JavaScript data type, right? Also you need to send it, you need to enclose it by using while using curly brackets. So this is how you do it, obj. Okay, and what do I need to access it? So I'll quickly go to my hello component here, and I will print out. So let's suppose this is Ritik dot value, I guess 2, right? 2 or 3. Wait. It was value 3. This is value 3. Acha, one thing you cannot return your object, so I need to console.log it. If I have to do it Ritik dot value, and let me change the name to prop because Ritik is sounding very weird here. Let me do it to props. This value also is prop. This is also prop. This is also prop. This is also prop. Okay. Ritik is not defined, but where have I used Ritik? Yeah. Okay. And this value I need to put like this. Okay. Now see. Console.log props. API means application programming interface. Okay. Now let me refresh. So here you have three values, right? The first value is value, that is 10. Okay. This is value 1, that is an array, and this here is an object, right? Remember, this is an object which again consists of a key and a value pair. This is key 1, this is key 2, right? As simple as that. And if you want to access the values of an object, that you have to do it by using props dot value 3. So here is a prop that you are sending. So what has happened? I've made an object in the app.js component, and I'm sending it into this hello component by using the help by the help of a prop. So this is how you can also send an array. You can send an object, you can send a string, you can even send a function, you can send anything that you want. Yes, application programming interface. Okay, you can send anything that you want here. As simple as that. Chalo, okay. With that being said, let me comment this part out. Also, let me comment this part out. Okay. And one last thing is remaining, that is the styling. Okay. I'll tell you how do we use how do we send styling from one component to another. Let's suppose you have a let's suppose you are in your hello one folder, and let's suppose you have some buttons. You have a button. Let's suppose let's give it button only. And here also yes, we can use destructuring. That's what we can, but I'm not introducing that topic because some of you might get confused there. Okay. Button 2 and button 3. Okay, so I've got some buttons. Let me comment this button out. Okay. Okay. But before introducing this concept, I need to tell you how do you add CSS in React. Okay. Can you go slow? Okay. Am I going too fast, guys? Do let me know. Am I going too fast? I don't think so. I'm going too fast, but yeah, if you have any doubts, you can let me know, Deepak. Right? You can let me know. Ramesh says no. Okay, take care. Yeah, I also think that I'm not going too fast, but Deepak, Acha, I'm too fast. Let's go to this. He just says no. ठीक है. Please make one explanation of destruction with example. ठीक है. I'll do that. I'll do that also. ठीक है. And in the meanwhile, so acha, ठीक है. Let's take 5-10 minutes break. In the meanwhile, I'll explain you how to market attendance and things like that. In the meanwhile, Deepak, let's go. You can catch up, and you can let me know if you have any doubts, right? In the meanwhile, those of you who are facing after code, give some time. ठीक है. And in the meanwhile, I'm what do you say? Telling you how do you market attendance and things like that. And so tomorrow we have got a very interesting session for you guys. Okay. First of all, I'll tell you how do you market attendance. You come you come onto this website, LetsUpgrade.in. The link is also given in the description box. From here, go to my programs, right? Click on this React.js bootcamp. Okay. You're on day 2. This is already finished, and you're in day 2, right? Crop states and hooks. This right here, you see an option of market attendance here. Click on this option and give some ratings or things like that. How will you likely recommend? Okay. Let's suppose I want to recommend it to my friend, and which course that you're interested in. Let's suppose I'm interested in the Java and DSA course, and you can fill in this feedback form as well. Okay. I'll say nothing, and I'll submit my attendance, and my attendance has been submitted. Okay. Now if I refresh, I can see that this progress bar has increased from 27 to 54.5%. Right. And the assignment part. So you see an option here of view and submit the assignment. All right. Click on this option, and here you see your assignment. Right. Submit your GitHub link, and you can provide any details that you want to, that extra information that you want here. Okay. This is how you submit your assignments. How do you do that? You click and you have an option of view and submit the assignment. Click on this link, complete this assignment, right? Upload it on GitHub now, and paste the GitHub link right here. All right. Okay. Now the most interest and about their what do you say, courses. So this bootcamp that we are doing here is only of 3 days, right? uh, I'll try to provide as much of knowledge as I can, but uh, their full the full programs that they are of, I guess, around 120 plus hours, right? So see the difference: 6 hours and plus 6 hours and 120 hours of learning. There'd be a very wide difference of knowledge, right? So plus they also, if you enroll in their full-time courses, they also have 100% placement assistance. So you can easily be rest assured about the placement, and do not worry about the placements if you are enrolling in their course. And the fees is around 5,900, right? The fees is around 5,900 here. Okay. Okay. And also tomorrow you'll be having a quiz, right? Tomorrow you'll be having a quiz, a Kahoot session, and interestingly, this time we are awarding top 3 winners with something, right? So let me just give me a second. Let me just open the price details that you have. Yes. So this is the Java and DSA program, and whosoever comes first on tomorrow's Kahoot session will get this course absolutely free of cost, right? Absolutely free of cost. Whosoever comes first, and the second winner will be getting rupees 3,000 off, right? And the third winner will be getting rupees 1,000 off. So if you're coming 3, you'll be getting it around 2,900, right? Subtract 3,000 from it. And if you are coming third, you'll be getting it for 4,900. And if you are coming first, you'll get it absolutely for free, right? And the best part is the placement part. You can you can be rest assured about the placements, right? You can also read the descriptions from here: 100 plus problems, mock interviews, 120 plus hours of live learning, right? And Java programming in 3 months. But this offer will be, I think, most probably be valid till tomorrow only, after in the Kahoot session. So right, so tomorrow we'll be having a Kahoot session, and the top 3 winners will be awarded with something. I'd already told you the prizes, so please make sure to participate in tomorrow's quiz. And if you are lucky enough to get the prize, you'll be rewarded. Okay. And also you can go through the, can the offer be applicable on other courses? I'm not sure about this. The team will let you know. The team will let you know, Ramesh. Okay? Like on full stack development, the team will let you know about this. But in Java, it is for sure there. All right. And you can also go through the description box. You can also go to the frequently asked questions. You can see the fees and things like that, right? and things like that. Yeah, so you have got a response from the management. It says no, it's only valid for Java and DSA. Okay, Ramesh, I hope you got your answer. I want to know about use state. Yeah, so we'll be doing use state just now. Please be patient. Okay. Is there any other way to submit assignment except GitHub? Uh, uh, hmm. Apart from GitHub, what can you use? You can do one thing. You can do one thing. You can upload the code on doc file, and you can attach the doc file link there instead of, if you're not comfortable with GitHub. All right. You can also use Code Sandbox. Yes, you can also use Code Sandbox, Code Pen, anything you can use. Okay. Yeah, we can also make a Google Drive link or a Google Doc link, and you can upload the link, but make sure that it is accessible to all the users, all the public, and then you can attach the code there. Okay. You can use code pen also. You can use Code Sandbox. Until and unless the link is visible, it is fine. All right. Chalo. Uh, Bhavna Gupta says, when will we get the notes? Bhavna, I'm so sorry for that. I forgot to send the notes. So today, for sure, I'll be giving the notes of day 1 and day 2. Or let me do one thing. Open. Let me open CodeShare. Not IO slash let's upgrade. Okay. Uh, okay. And what if I push the notes here? I'm not sure. Let me just check. Okay. Actually, the problem is that the notes that I have here, I have to explicitly convert it like this, and need to send it to you. Okay, so this I need to do. It'll take some time, obviously, because I cannot share you this link. This also contains other things as well. So that's why I have to do it like this. Chalo, ठीक है. After the session ends, I'll sit for some time and will upload these notes like this manually. Or can I do it? ठीक है. I'll do it like this. ठीक है. Where will the notes? So notes will be added in the description box. ठीक है. Or if you also want, you can you can get this. I can also give you the snapshots. I can what I can do is I can. So what do you guys prefer? Do you guys prefer the notes like this in text format, or the other way is that I capture the snapshot and I upload that snapshot in Google Drive link, and then I give that Google Drive link to you. What do you guys prefer? Do you guys prefer the screenshot method, or do you guys prefer the text method? Any of that is fine to me. It's up to you what you want. Hmm. Tell me. Text. So please continue. Yeah, yeah, I'm I'm just continuing. Text. Yeah, most of you are saying text. Let me go with screenshot is also fine. Screenshot is good. Okay. Chalo. I'll most of you said text. Okay. I'll wait on text as well. So okay, I think you guys got a good 5 to 10 minutes break. I think now we are on track, right? Let's go. And who was the other one who was saying that it's too fast? I think now we are on track, right? Shall we continue? Yep, whatever you're comfortable. Yeah, I'm comfortable with both of them. Chalo, I'll upload it on text. Don't worry. Chalo, okay. With that being said, let's continue now. So where was I? I was explaining you. I was explaining you how do you send styling from one component to another, right? Chalo. Now, so let's suppose you got something like this. Okay. You have a button, let's suppose this. Okay. And how to add styling? So there are two methods to apply inline styling. Okay. You guys already know how to apply external styling, right? You can change anything in index.js and that will be applicable to whole application. But this is I'm saying how to add inline styling, right? So in React, if you want to apply styling, you have to mention a style keyword, and that should be accessible inside an object. So I have to do it like this. I have to make an object, and in an object, I need to specify whatever styling that I want to use. So let's suppose I want to give it a background color, not background clip, background color of, let's suppose, blue. Okay. Now, okay, it's got blue in color, and let's suppose I also want to have the have some padding of around, let's suppose, 16 pixels. Okay, right? I've got a padding as well. Okay, and font size of, let's suppose, how much, 50 pixels. Let me refresh. Yeah, 50 pixels. Okay, and I want the cursor to be a pointer, right? So now if I hover this, it will change into a pointer text. Chalo. Yes, and it should be in camel case, right? So it should start with the small letters, and then it should, after your first letter has ended, the second word, the letter of the second word should be capital. Okay. So this is how you set it. And there is another. So I told you, right? This is an object. If you want to make it more clean, you can make a styling object separately. Let's suppose here you make a styling object, const styling equals to, and you, instead of this, you copy the whole code and you make your code a little cleaner. And now, instead of this const style, I can write in styling here. Okay, so this is also good. What I meant to say is, in order to use inline styling in React, you first have to make sure that you give the styling in the form of an object. You make an object. This is how I made an object right here, right? And that object you should use by giving the style attribute. Give the name of the style equals to the name of the object. Either you can do it like this, or the second way is you can quickly cut this code out and directly paste that object here. but this looks more cleaner, so I would prefer you to use it like this. Okay. Now the trick here, now the question here is, let's suppose this is hello one, right? I quickly come here and let's suppose I uh, want to apply the stylings to other buttons as well. Let's suppose, what are the other buttons? This, right? So I'll quickly do it like this also. Style equals to styling, right? And here also I want to give style equals to styling. Okay, got it. Acha. Now I want to change this, change the background color. Let's suppose change the background color according to the user that gives me, according to the value that the user gives me from app.js. What I meant here is that I want to send the background color property from app.js to my hello1.js. So how do I do that? Let's suppose I make color, and let's suppose I provide a value here. Let's suppose uh, green. I want to, instead of what do you say, blue, I want to make it green. So I have it here, right? Uh, Color equals to green. Now if I come to hello1.js, if I, how do you access the value of props? So again, in the parameters you have to write props, and if I console.log props here, console.log props, so this is the value that you get here. You get a value and you get a color. Now this color I want, this color I want to use it here. Okay. How do I access the prop value? Again, by using a dot operator, dot notation, right? So I'll do it like props dot color, and as soon as I do that, my color gets changed to green. Now I can simply, if I want to change the color to some other color, let's suppose I want to make it yellow, I just have to change the color from here, and it will be applied to all my buttons. Sir, then what is the use of index.css? Index.css, I told you, right? Index.css is used to apply CSS on the whole React application. And app.css is used to change the styling of only your app.js, app.js component. Whatever content you write in app.js, if you want to change the styling of app, you use app.css. And whatever CSS you write in index.css, it will change the CSS of your whole React application. As simple as that. Okay. So this is how you get the value of props, and I can even send some other values. All JS should be above return only. Yes, and can be used any. So return, what I didn't get your question. So I think you meant to say this, right? Return. So whatever you write inside return statement, this will be viewed on your browser. As simple as that. And you have to return. Yes. If you don't return anything, there's no use of making a component, because a component should return something, and that return part would be viewable on your browser. If you're not returning something, that means a component is of no use, and it will not be, it is just a redundant component. As simple as that. All right, now, okay. So got it right? How do you add styling? How do you add things like that and stuff like that? This is how you do it. Yes, you can do it. You can give it. You can give it a class name, and, and obviously you can do that, right? Simple. Uh, Ramin says, here you are hard coding example a yellow color. Yes. How will a user pass value in app.js? So in order to pass the value, right, you have different methods. One is you can use a form, or you can use an input tag. You can mention that, please mention add your color, and that you can get the reference. Remember, we did a form, we made a form in the JavaScript bootcamp. I think you were there also. So how do you access the value? You use dot current value and dot value. Get the color name, and that color name you have it. You have the access. Store it in a variable and pass it as a pop. You can do it like this. Okay. Chalo. ठीक है. Right now see. What was I telling? I just forgot. Yeah, I was saying instead of just sending a background color, you can also change the padding. So let's suppose I want the padding to be as, let's suppose, uh, props dot padding. Okay, I want to set the padding. I want to set the padding, whatever. So I'll just come here, come where, come to app.js, and similarly I can do it like padding equals to whatever value. Let's suppose I want to give a padding of let's suppose only 4 pixels. So my padding is increased. Let's suppose I want to give it of 2 pixels. Now it has decreased. So this also I can give padding from here as well. Okay. And let's suppose font size. You can have it of props dot font, right? Here you have a font, and you can set the font from here. So let's suppose font equals to, I want it to be of, let's suppose instead of 40 pixels, I want it to be 10 pixels. So it has reduced. And let's suppose I want it to 30 pixels. Now it has increased. Yeah, I think I had it 40 pixels initially. Yeah. Okay. So this is how you use a prop. And with that, I think the whole prop concept is clear. If it gets asked in any of the interviews, I am pretty much sure that you'll be able to explain it in a very cleaner way and very proper way, with giving examples and demonstrating it just like I did in front of you. All right. Chalo. With that being said, props has been covered, right? Now it's time to move on to states. Chalo. Okay. Who will tell me? Guys, anyone? Do you guys have any idea? What do you mean by states? Or any idea what are states? What do you mean by states? Anyone? Could you add this code screenshot in the notes? In fact, I'll upload the code on GitHub, and I'll share you the GitHub link. But the state is a built-in React object that contains data or information about the component. No, Navi, that's not a state. Any other responses? Containing data. Ah, not exactly. State is like a container. Not exactly. It is a variable. You can say it's a variable. Okay, by container you meant a variable. Yeah, but I can expect a proper definition. State generally refers to a data or properties that needs to be tracking in an application. Yes, the state of an application at a certain time. Very, I would say out of the box answer, but yeah, correct answer by Dana. States are objects that used to pass the data, but we can change the value of it, while props we can't change. Acha. Naveen says a component state can change over time. Whenever it changes, the component re-renders. I was looking for that keyword only, re-rendering. Very good, Naveen. Okay. Bujender says maintain the input state. Okay. Containing data or chalo, okay. Most of you were somewhat there. Okay. But see, what do you mean by states? Let's suppose I have a condition. Okay. If I want to track any variable, okay, I need state hook. Acha, by the way, state is a hook. Okay. Next, okay, if I want to track any variable, I need a hook. Okay. Now React will track uh, the variable if and only if it changes. Okay, React could only track it if it is time to change. Okay, and if there are any changes, the component will re-render. Okay, if there are any changes that let's suppose you have a variable and that has changed, right? So if that is changed and it's tracked by a state variable, then it will be re-rendered. As simple as that. Okay, now whenever, okay, so how do we use it? We it states, let's suppose it has got two values. Okay, states has got two values, I would say. Okay, the first one is a variable. Okay, the second one is a function. Okay, and name of the, what do you say, function function in state is use state. Okay, so that is a state for you. Okay, so what is a state? Let's suppose you are you're making something. Let's suppose, okay, this set of, okay, let's suppose you're making something, and what happens is that, let's suppose uh, you want that whenever the user types in any input, okay, the user types in any input, you want to track it. You want to track what is the input that the user is typing. Okay, a very simple logic that I give, a very simple application that I give. And and on and let's suppose when you're tracking, right, you're tracking, you want to store it in some variable. Okay, or consider, let's suppose you have a counter application. What is a counter application? Let's suppose we'll also do a counter application, don't worry. Let's suppose whenever you click on increment counter, you want that the value that you presently have, that should be incremented by 1. And let's suppose whenever you click on decrement counter, you want the value to be decreased by 1. Very simple. Okay, now how will you make sure, that whenever you click on +1, the value +1, let's suppose your value is initially 10, if you're clicking on +1, the value will get increased to 11, right? But how will you make sure that it is tracked? Your component, your app is, your functions are, your component is re-rendered and it is showing the new value, that is 11. If you click on +2 again, it will from 11, it will become to 13, right? You know that the value has become 13, but how will your React application know? Because it will be showing the old value, right? You need to track it. As soon as you track it, it will get changed to 30. I'll show you an example. Let's suppose you're in your app.js. Okay, first of all, how do you make a string? There's a specific keyword for that. You use const. I told you there are first value, two values. One is the variable and the second is the function. So how do you make it? You give the name to your variable and you give a name to your function. Let's suppose uh, you give count and you give set count. Okay, and use the function. What is the function? I told you it's use state. Use state. And in the brackets, you type in the initial value of your state. Let's suppose 0. So what does the 0 signify? It signifies that 0 is the initial value of count. If I console.log count here, I'll get a value of I'll show you. If I let's suppose want to print count. Okay, not here. Yeah, here. ठीक है. Let's suppose I come up here. ठीक है. So you are getting a value of 0 here. ठीक है. Because 0 is the initial value that I have provided. Let's suppose instead of 0 to be the initial value, I want to start it from 100. If I press 110, it will be starting from 110. Okay. What I meant to say is that value that you provide here is the initial value of your state. I can leave it blank as well. No values will be appearing here. Okay. But it is the initial value that is present here. Now see one thing. Okay. Right. So I told you, right? First thing, this right. This right here. Yes, integer. Okay, you can pass a string as well. You can pass any name. You can pass your name. It will be visible. Okay. So this is a variable, and this is a function, and this is the function name, useState function name, and this is the initial value. Okay. Variable. This is a function. Okay. And this right here is the hook name, state hook name, state excuse me, state hook name, function. Okay. And this is the initial value. This is the initial value. So it has 4 values. 4. This is the variable. This is the function name, and the initial value. Now, okay, let's suppose with my application, yeah, it's here. Yeah. I'll show you a very common example, a very basic example. Let's suppose I want to make a counter application. Okay. How do we make a counter application? Let's suppose I am here. So let me do one thing. Let me just make 2 buttons. Button increment, right, and a button for decrement. Okay. And I'll make a count, and the count will be initially whatever value the data has. So sorry, whatever value the count has, it is count. Okay. Initially the count is 0. Let's suppose I'm writing 0 here. Okay. Now see, I want, what do I want? I want that whenever I click on increment button, the counter should get increased to +1. Okay. As simple as that. And whenever I click on decrement button, the counter should decrease to -1. Now, what could be the naive? So let's suppose what I do here is I comment out this part for now. I make var count equals to 0. Okay, count. And obviously I need to make an on-click function, right? On-click. And let's suppose I'm creating an increment function. The name is increment. And similarly, I'm making on-click and I'm using a decrement function. Okay. Now I need to declare those functions. So let's suppose I have here is const inc equals to what? I have the count. I need to just increase the count by 1. Let's suppose I did count plus plus. Similarly, I make a decrement function const dec count equals to count minus minus. Okay. Less as simple as that. Okay. No errors. My console is clear. Everything is clear. Yeah. Now What do you guys think? If I click on increment and if I click on decrement, if I click on increment, will my counter be increased to +1? This right here, you have the code. Okay. Tell me according to your understanding, if it will work, why? If it will not work, then why? Okay. This here is the code. I have two buttons. On click, increment function. I'm increasing the count by 1 and decreasing the count by. Okay. Naveen says that it will work. Okay. What about others? Will it work or will it not work? So I'm giving you 2 minutes to observe the code and then tell me whether it will work or not work. So tell me. You can take your time. You can observe it. You can observe the code and then you can answer properly. Utpal is saying it will work. Okay. Okay. I'm waiting for some other responses and then I'll tell you whether it will work or not. Arpit Pandit says not work. Okay. Arpit, can you mention the reason why it will not work? Because everything seems correct, right? Well, why it will not work? I think so. It's not work because it use increment. Not work. It will work inside the function. Okay. I have a function, right? That's because of any. Okay. I think I have not. No, it won't work because we have to set the value. We didn't have the properties in that const function. No, that is not the reason. But Tuvamsi says that it won't work. Okay. You set count person. अच्छा 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 ठीक है देखो चलो it is in front of you. I am clicking on increment and it is not working. I'm clicking on decrement now and it is not working. No, it is not getting any error. So that's why I have the console open in front of you. Whenever I click on increment, whenever I click on decrement, it will not work. The reason for that here is the reason for that here is if I am incrementing, right? If I am incrementing, okay, we are not creating a re-render. Whatever values are there in the count, it is there as it is. We are not creating a re-render. My page is not refreshing. It does not have any other values. As simple as that. Okay. My page is not incrementing. My page is not re-rendering, and that is the only reason why it is why that is the only reason the changes are not reflected here. Okay. Now, how do I make my variable trackable? How do I create a re-render? Okay. Guys, just give me a second. I'm just give me a second, right? In the meanwhile, please observe the code, right? Yeah guys, so sorry for that. ठीक है. So where was I? ठीक है. So I said that it will not be tracked because it will not be changed because we are not tracking your variable. ठीक है. So how do I track my variable? How do I make it to re-render? By using a use state, right? So now I'll tell you how to use a use state. Okay. I'll quickly do one thing. I'll just quickly comment this part out. And instead of a normal variable, now I'll make a use state variable. Okay. Now it has got a count. It has got a set count. Okay. As soon as I click on increment, this button, this increment function will be invoked. And this function here, I want to set the count. I want to set the count to count plus one. And in this decrement operation, I want to set the count to count minus one. Okay. Now see, the code is exactly similar to what I wrote. I just changed two lines. Now instead of a normal variable, initially, instead of a normal variable, now I have a state variable. And because now I have a state variable, it will be tracked. It will be tracked by my React application. Now, if I click on increment, my count will be incremented to plus one. If I click on decrement, my count will be decreased to minus one. And that is the only reason if I'm clicking on increment, I'm getting the output again because it is refreshing, it is re-rendering the whole application. If I'm clicking on decrement, again you see that you are getting some things on your console because it is re-rendering the whole application. That is the only reason why we use states. We use states to track our variables. We use states to cause a re-render in our application because it is very widely used, and it is of most important use if you are building a React application that is using some features that need some re-rendering. Okay, so uh, guys, is it clear why do we use states? What is the cause? Why are we using it? Why are we causing a re-render? What is the issue that will happen if we not create a use state variable? So is it clear? Sir, please explain again why increment without use state. Ritesh, no, we are not incrementing. So if you're not using use state, it is not incrementing, right? It is incrementing only by using use state because this is the state that I have used. I've set the count to count plus one on each click. I've set the count to count minus one on each click. Okay. So that is only because use state is tracking, and whenever my state changes, it is creating a re-render, and that re-render is having a new value. Let's yes, without use state, page doesn't re-render exactly Utpal. Okay. So if I'm not using re-render, right? I'm changing it, but it is not refreshing the page. That's why it is not visible. When I'm having a use state, when I'm using a use state variable, it is creating a re-render, and that is the only reason. So whenever I click on increment, right, my whole page gets refreshed, and the new value of count is one because I've set the count to count plus one. It is getting re-rendered. Okay, this is count two. This is decrement. This is decrement. React sends the state update operations performed by the function returned by the use state. What is Yes, exactly. You can see that. Yes, exactly. You can see that. Okay, guys. Is it clear? Yes or no? Do let me know yes or no in the chat box quickly. So this is a very important concept. That's what I'm focusing uh, very much on that. If it is not clear, if you have any slightest kind of doubts, do let me know. I'll be more than happy to clear it out. Naveen, clear. What about others? Okay, Arpit clear. Batu Vasni clear. Utpal Patel clear. ठीक है. Others? Ramesh का भी clear है. Great, great Ramesh. Diana clear. Ritesh Gupta clear. Deepak says please repeat the re-render. चलो, I'll explain the re-rendering part. ठीक है. Apart from that, everything clear? Okay, Tejas, one second. Chalo. Rishikesh says clear. Deepak clear. Hell, hell, hellfire. Yeah, hellfire clear. Dhananjay clear. ठीक है. I think most of you are clear on this part. चलो. For those of you who are not, I'm just explaining it again for the sake of you because it is very important topic. That's why. ठीक है. Otherwise, I will just have you. Re-render means simple. Yeah, re-render means reloading. You can see that. So see, whenever we use React, okay, I think Deepak and Tejas for you. Whenever we use a use state, this is a hook. Okay, whenever we use a use state function, what happens that it will track. Okay, it will track whenever you change, whenever you change a variable or whenever you update a variable, your whole React application will re-render. In simple words, as said by Utpal, reload in layman terms. Okay. Now what will happen? You have an on click. This has an increment operation. Okay. Whenever you click on increment operation, it comes, the control comes here, and your counter, you have set it to count plus one. Whatever is the initial value, it's zero. Whenever I click on increment, it gets increased to one. Okay, as simple as that. Now, whenever you increase the count value, okay, whenever you update the variable, it will re-render. That means that it will create another, it will reload the page, and this time your count, instead of having the value of 0, it will have the value of 1, and that is displayed here, right? Again, if you click on increment, you call this function and you change the state. When you change the state, it again got re-rendered, right? And then you change the value. They just, no, for loop you cannot, because for loop will not cause a re-render, right? The whole concept of using a state is using a is to use a re-render function, is to use a re-render feature. If and only if the application will re-render, then only the changes will be updated on the browser. If it is not re-rendering, then it will not be done. Not use, if you're not re-rendering, you cannot change the state. As simple as that. You cannot change the state if you're not re-rendering. That is the only reason why React has the concept of use states. Okay? I mean, you can display the values on your console, but you cannot display the values on your browser, because browser needs to be re-rendered, right? Whatever you see on the browser here, I mean, it's a simple funda. Yeah. Whatever you see on the browser here, okay? Whatever you see on the browser here, that's if you click on any button, right? How will your browser know that it has to reload? It has to show the new value. You cannot tell the browser that, just like you do it in your console, that it has to be done like this, right? You cannot tell you. So for that only, you have to use a re-rendering operation. That means if you click on this button, your page is reloading, re-rendering. Okay, your component is re-rendering, and that is getting a change. No, we can, Deepak, if you use a send interval function, you cannot re-render the page again. I'm saying the use of React, the use of state is only to use a feature of re-rendering. If you will not re-render, it will not change. It will change in the console, but it will not change in the browser. That is the whole point of using states. Okay. For interview purpose, the state is the held in the count in the example. I didn't get your question, Naveen. Okay, so that is the only way you can do it. I hope I'm clear now. Chalo, okay. Now let's continue with this part. Okay, now let's continue with this part. Chalo. Now I want that I'm getting it. I'm getting a function. I'm getting a API call. Okay, this is the API call that I'm getting here, right? And this call, I want to send it to another component by using props. Okay. So how do I do that? I've invoked a function, right? This is the response. Now I'll do one thing. I'll just quickly comment out these lines because I do not need it, and I'll also comment out these lines because I don't want to use it. Okay. Now again, I called the data from an API. Okay, I got the response. I converted the response into JSON format, and okay, this response I want to update. I want to call it a read. So how will I do it? Let's suppose I want to set the count to response. Okay. Now I got a response here. Okay, response. Now I'm calling a function, right? And this response I want to send it here. Let's suppose here response equals to, let's suppose, and what is the variable? It's count, right? Response equals to count here. Okay. Now see, I have the response here, right? I have the response here. I quickly come here. I quickly compare. Now I see. Just a second. Let me go to hello one and let me comment out this part. Okay, right. I'll see. I'll explain this concept why it is coming again and again. But for now, just focus on this part. Okay. So in the response, I have an object. See, I have an object here. It consists of an ID and things like that. Now, here in hello, I want to show, let's suppose, this category name on my console. Okay, how do I do that? Again, so I have the prop, right? I have the prop. It's very simple. Now I'll just do props dot uh, let me check the format of the data first. Just give me a second. You have a response. You have an object of ID, title, price, okay, category. Okay. Let's suppose props dot title. No, I'm not sure if this works. Huh. Not props dot title. Yeah. Let me just first see props dot response, and here also I'll just do one thing. Comment out this part for now, and here I'll console dot log props dot response. Okay. I'm getting the response here. It is an object. It is an object which contains the title ID. Let's suppose if I want to do response dot title, and let me refresh. And I'm getting the name of the movie. Okay. And this movie I want to show here. So what will I do? I'll just do console.log. Okay. I'll response dot this one. Okay. So I have successfully got the movie name. Sorry, the whatever the title is, it's fallback. Whatever the data is coming from the API, I have successfully rendered it. Okay. Okay. And now, so what have we done here is now instead I have used a state, right? And that state I have passed as a prop here. Response equals to count. What is count? It's a variable that is being tracked by my React application. Okay. What did I do? I quickly fetched the data from an API, as simple as that, and I converted the data into a JSON format, and now I had set the count to response. Now my state has updated. It is causing it's causing a re-render. and that re-render is updating the value. Now the count value here has a value of response. Yeah. Now I come to my hello component. I got the response here. Simply, what did I do? I had the object. The data is coming from an API. Now instead of showing the whole data, I'm just showing props.response.title because it was a very nested object. Let's suppose I needed to show the title. I also, if I want to show, I can also show the price, let's suppose, or the description. Let's suppose description. Description was also there. So now I also have the description. Now this data I'm not coding anywhere. This data is coming from an API or from the database that you can see. Okay. So this is how it is done. Right. I hope it is clear. If it is not, do let me. In the meanwhile, let me take some doubts. Sir, variable function, we have to give any name. Yes, Ganesh, you can give any name. That's up to you. Utpal says in interview, can we explain state like state is any variable by which we can pass data? So if it is asked in an interview, you can just say that state is a special kind of a variable in React that causes a re-render. That's it. Very simple. One line answer. Okay. It is a variable in React that causes a re-render. And then you can go ahead and explain what part it has. It has got two values. One is the variable and the other is the function, setter function. Okay. And this user use state hook, use state function, and you specify the initial value that you have. Okay. Again, you can also give an example if you want to. Let's suppose you want to give a counter application example. You can give a counter application example. Okay. It depends on the interviewer. But to sum it up, you can say it's just a special kind of a variable that is tracked by React and it causes a re-rendering. As simple as that. Sir, one there is more than one data in API. Why only? So because I'm showing only one data, na? If I come here, I'm only showing one data here, right? If I if I see if I open it like this, so it what is the format, right? It has got only a single title, only this title. That's why it's showing the same data. It does not have many. It has a single object that has got multiple key value pairs. It has got description, it has got category, it has got image, it has got rating, and things like that. Okay, guys, clear hai the concept about props, the concept of states. I hope I have explained it in very depth. So, if you are going in an interview, nothing will be asked beyond this. This is exactly what you guys need to prepare, right? By showing examples, by giving uh, relevant examples, and by states is clear. Great. What exactly the error you are getting, Deepak? Okay, so that is why more than clear. That's very great. Nice to hear. Okay. Okay. In the meanwhile, let me upload the code, right? You guys want the code, right? So let me upload this code on GitHub and let me give you the link if I can. Let me go to GitHub and let me. If you want to change the properties of CSS, why do you want to use states then? You can use prop, right? Okay. Here I'll create a new repository. I'll say React underscore demo. I'll create the repository. I'll quickly come here. I'll open the terminal. ठीक है, and you have the code. ठीक है, and now let me push the new code. Get add dot get hyphen m day 1 and day 2 code, and get ठीक है. Now you must be, yep, so here you have the code, and let me go to the React demo. Let me go into src. Yep, here you have the components. You have two components, hello and hello1, and here you have the app.js component. It has all the code. It has got function. Yeah, it has got, okay, I think this is fine, right? And I'll how do I share it? Okay, I'll give this link to the management, and they will add this link in the description box. All right, guys. Uh, have taken screenshot. That's very good. Okay, but uh, so let me just give me a second. Let me go on to repositories of the dashboard, and okay, so okay, I have given the link to the person concerned, and she will share it most probably in the chat box description, right? Uh, and most probably it will be added on in the description box, right? Okay. Chalo. Anything else? Anything else? Next bootcamp on React Native. Arpit, I'm not sure about it. Deepak says, can you please explain the assignment? So assignment, okay. Uh, so here, if you click on assignment, say create a React application which toggles the which toggles the background color of web page and every toggle. Okay, that's very simple. So what do you have to do? Let's suppose you have you make a button. Let's suppose, and you first of all, yes, Utpal, use effect. Yes. Let's suppose you make a button, and that button you initially set the background color. Okay, you can set it to white. So that is the default background color that you have. And if you click on, let's suppose, change background color. Okay, you should cause a re-render, and you should, on that re-render, you change the background color. Let's suppose you are changing the background color to black. Okay, that use effect will change the background color, right? And if you click on, if you click on again, change background, then it has to change, then it has to be changed to white. Okay, then it has to be changed to white. Instead of increment decrement, we can use background color. Yes. Okay, it is very simple. So what you have to do, make a button, set some styling to it. Let's suppose initially it is white, and if you click on change background color, it will get changed to black. If you click on again change background, it will now it will now be changed to white. So means whenever you toggle, whenever you click, it will change to white, black, and things like that. Okay, I hope you got the source code on in the chat box, right? Go through the code, it's there. And if you face any difficulties, we'll have first 5 to 10 minutes for the doubt session. Okay. And then we'll be able to clear that part. So tomorrow we'll be doing a small project on React, most probably a portfolio. Okay. Naveen, notes B I'll give you, because it's a very it'll take some time for me to copy paste each and every thing, and most probably by tomorrow, before tomorrow, I'll give you. Okay. So yeah, on tomorrow we'll be covering use effect. Okay, it's a very important hook, and after that we'll be making a project, most probably a portfolio project on React. Right, it will be covering some of the topics that you guys have already covered. So be prepared for tomorrow. Go through today's lecture. Go through yesterday's lecture. If you are facing any difficulties, right? Please make sure to mark the attendance as well, and do the assignments on time. Make sure to code. Make sure to practice. If you have any doubts, we are here. We'll clear it out, right? But please make sure that you are there. You are focusing on your project and you're focusing on the code. Chalo. So with that being said, okay, let's wrap up the session. All right. Let's wrap up the session, and we'll meet tomorrow at the same time. Okay. At 6. So that was all for today's lecture. We'll see you tomorrow. All right. Bye. Bye.